agencies, they have no experience, and their decision making, their poor decision making, lack of accountability, and embellishing on the truth are reasons why things are happening right before our eyes. Again, a lot of people misstated that she was fired. No, she was just shifted to the shield of America, whatever that means. But again, I believe in a higher power, and whether you see it yet or not, things are absolutely changing. Yes, there's evil in the world, but there's good, and a lot of things are happening. Good things, in my opinion. But we still have a long ways to go. So let's continue to listen to the answers, the pitiful, pathetic answers given. And again, these are my opinions.
Detained or arrested by your agency?
The individuals that may have been detained and arrested were individuals that could have been obstructing law enforcement operations
you haven't met
and
with
committing
them,
crimes
correct?
that way, and that we would.
Could have been, ma'am. Could have, should have, is something that a head of an agency should not say. You need to know that this isn't a guessing game of what you think. And when you are appearing on the floor, you should be ready to answer. You should have accurate numbers in front of you so that you may answer the questions intelligently and with confidence, not dancing around like Sammy Davis Jr. or the late Gregory Hines. Answer the questions, yes or no. Don't make things up as you go. Do not, I'll get back to you on that. I'll look into that. When are you going to look into things now that you've been relieved of your position? Which many people, including myself, knew this was going to happen. Now you were just shoved over into something else. But there was no way you were going to remain at Department of Homeland Security. Anyone, a modicum of brain power, saw that coming, except for those dumbed down, watered down, and mystified by the Botox and the cowboy hat. Let's continue.
I'd like to introduce you to
until their
three of
identity
them.
was confirmed.
Leo, Javier, and Marimar, would you please stand? These three individuals, Madam Secretary, were arrested by your agency, Leonardo Garcia Venegas, Javier Ramirez, and Marimar Martinez. Do you know what your agents did to Leo Venegas? I'll tell you. On May 21 of last year, they entered the private property at a house that he was constructing without consent, without a warrant, illegally. Again, on June 12th, they entered private property, a home where he was doing construction. He is a United States citizen, born in Florida. They seized him and ignored and disregarded his proof of citizenship. Wouldn't you agree with me that no U.S. citizen simply working lawfully should be arrested?
In law enforcement operations across the...
Yes or no? Yes or no? This is the playbook used every time, well, many times that questions were asked of Kristi Noem?
Country. There are times when U.S.
It's a
citizens
simple yes or
may
no.
be arrested or detained until
Would
their
you agree
identity
with
is
me,
confirmed
Madam
and that they
Secretary,
haven't
that
committed a
U.S.
crime.
citizens should not be arrested when they are obeying the law, they have no criminal record, and they are engaged in a lawful activity?
Sir, in
Tongue-tied? Tongue-tied? Pathetic.
situations where law enforcement, regardless of the agency across the country, when there is probable
Let me
cause,
tell
an
you about
individual
Javier
may be-
Ramirez.
The level of disrespect. Well, let me not say disrespect, because in my opinion, she deserved the grilling that she received. I cannot tell you, and wait till we get to Cory Booker. But again, just a simple question. She couldn't answer. I don't even believe now it was because she didn't want to answer. It's because she just didn't know. And people again want to talk about DEI hires. What type of hire was that? Oh, maybe. Well, we'll get to that in a moment.
You know what your agents did to Javier Ramirez? He was on his own private property when he was assaulted by masked agents, his own property, without a warrant, without consent. They said, get him. He's Mexican. He was violently slammed into the ground while being handcuffed and taken into custody, despite telling officers that he is a United States citizen and even showing them his passport. And when he was asked what he was being arrested for, you know what they said? We don't know. Wouldn't you agree that targeting someone just because he is or looks like he is Mexican when he is a United States citizen is wrong?
Senator, we do not target people based on their race or ethnicity. We do targeted operations based on criminal backgrounds and information.
So, again, you heard him say that the officers didn't know. They didn't know why.
It goes on, Madam Secretary. Javier was detained for over 4 days. He was denied medicine that he needed for severe diabetes. He lost consciousness. He had severe hypoglycemia. Wouldn't you agree with me that medical treatment should have been provided to him?
Senator,
denied.
Medical treatment is provided to individuals in our processing and detention centers. Within 12 hours, they have a medical examination.
Ma'am, when my sugar levels was up high a couple of weeks ago, and it was because I didn't have certain medication, that's considered an emergency. 12 hours could be the meaning of life or something worse for someone, especially someone with diabetes or any type of condition. So again, you should have never been in that position. You didn't know what you were doing then, and thank goodness you were relieved. But this new individual, from what I understand, might be worse, if that's even possible, in my opinion.
And we get them the prescriptions and medication that they need. They also have a full evaluation.
Will you commit to take action and to look into why he was denied medical treatment?
Yes, I will look into that, Kate.
You have a lot to be looking into in the short time you have left. And again, this is a typical response. Yes, I will look into it. I will look into it.
Specifically for you, Senator.
Marimar.
Specifically. I'll look into that specifically for you, Senator. Okay.
Martinez is with us today as well. She's standing right behind you. She was on her way to donate clothing at her church when she came across an unmarked car. The agents sideswiped her car. 3 masked agents in camouflage stormed out, and one of them pulled out his gun and fired at her moving vehicle, hitting her 5 times. She almost bled to death. Wouldn't you agree that shooting Miramar Martinez on her way to donate clothing at her church, a United States citizen from Chicago, is wrong?
Sir, I don't know the situation or...
You should. Something at this magnitude, you should absolutely know. Do you know how many cases I did this week? I was assigned 7. I completed 6 of those. Only 1 I did not because of the weather and my not feeling well, but I still worked every day and can give details and provide details. Now, of course, that's so much different than what you are responsible for, but something on the magnitude of this you should know about and should be able to answer every question.
The case, I'll look into it to ensure that all the
I'm
procedures
glad
are
you'll look
followed
into
properly.
it. Miramar, by the way, was falsely charged with impeding law enforcement.
And that's something that your agents, again, extrapolated from your playbook. Impeding. Do you know what happened to this particular case? What the judge did to the case? Let's listen. For everyone out there that might be in the chat that has said, impeding. If you weren't impeding, have you changed your mind a little bit about what's going on here? Or are you still in a stupor of ignorance?
But the case actually fell apart. The judge dismissed it as being trumped up. He dismissed it with prejudice.
Do you know what with prejudice means? There's a difference. Without prejudice, with prejudice. With prejudice means you can't bring it back. It's done. It's over. Like your days at the DHS as the secretary of DHS. After you spent millions and millions on advertisements that President Donald Trump wasn't too happy about. I wonder how some of you out there feel about that. You still have your blinders on? Let's continue.
And in fact, the agent who shot her, I'm not going to name him, but you know who he is, was quoted on social media the day or so afterward. And he said, quote, "I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys." And quote, "Cool. I'm up for another round of around and find out." Will you join me in condemning that agent?
Sir, that situation, I don't know the details of, but I will.
You don't know the details of anything, but I bet you know the details of that plane. Don't you? You know that plane with the bed in it and the rumors swirling behind that? Do you know the details of that? Or what about that contract? Oops. Didn't mean to let the cat out that bag so early. Pardon me. Pardon my faux pas.
Look into that.
I don't know why you can't join me in saying it was wrong to shoot Miramar almost cause her death, and then brag about it. Wouldn't you agree with me that it...
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same individual that took the lives of a puppy and a goat.
Wrong.
Sir, the way that you have portrayed it, it appears to be, but
the way that he portrayed it is not how he portrayed it. He's speaking facts to you, ma'am. As the DHS secretary, don't you understand what the word fact means? You don't know how to use that gray matter called a brain? Hello? Is anyone home upstairs?
let me look into the case so I can speak to the specifics of it.
In fact, apparently, contrary to what you just said, you actually supported the agent who shot Ms. Martinez 5 times. He's quoted as saying, when he was asked, everyone has been supportive, including Chief Bobino, Chief Banks, Secretary Noem, and El Jefe himself, referring presumably to President Trump.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, your thoughts and opinions thus far on this particular audio. I'll give you a few moments for those of you who may want to chat amongst yourselves or leave some comments from me, and we'll get to the next one. Again, this is the Week in Review. I'm your hostess, Lise, and this is The Circus, starring Kristi, Noem, and Kash Patel. Okay, the next voice you will hear will be that of Mr. Kennedy, and this was on March the 3rd. Again, March the 3rd, 2026. Ms. Noem, Kristi Noem, was relieved, or the announcement was made. February 5th. I'm sorry, March 5th, 2026. February 5th, 2026, President Donald Trump, when asked if he was going to replace or relieve Kristi Noem of her duties, his answer was a resounding no. Why would I do that? 1 month later, it was done. Let's continue. I'm going to let this play and come back to my commentary. Now, this is courtesy of CBS News. Again, courtesy of CBS News.
Get my congratulations on the record.
Again, this is the voice of Senator John Kennedy.
I believe you have a policy, Madam Secretary, that you have to approve all contracts at your department over $100 million.
No, sir, I have a policy in place that I review contracts. My deputy chiefs have the ability to review anything under 5 million. Above that, I evaluate and look at.
Okay. And you do that, I understand, to try to curb waste and abuse of taxpayer money. Is that right?
Fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yes, sir. In fact, it's been extremely effective. We've saved the taxpayers over $13.2 billion just by evaluating contracts, negotiating lower ones and canceling ones.
And ladies and gentlemen, I know I said I was going to let this run and put my commentary in there, but being a former, being close to the OIG a long time ago, contracts and grants were just two of the main areas where fraud was taking place. And millions of fraud and schemes were uncovered. I said I was going to do, actually I have worked on something. It's a lot, but I'm going to start doing content to discuss some of the investigations we used to do as it related to this type of fraud when it dealt with contracts. So those of you interested in those types of investigations within the federal government, I would encourage you to return again if you're interested in those, because I have a bird's eye view, because that's something that I actually did, uncovering, having to do subpoenas and just a lot of goodies that people, I believe, would appreciate the restoration and having those convicted to pay restitution back to the agency. So a lot of those things I'm absolutely proud of. And again, I can speak on these things because that's the work that I used to do. But let's continue to listen to Madam Noem.
That aren't necessary to do our duties.
How do you square that concern for waste, which I share, with the fact that you have spent $220 million running television advertisements that feature you prominently?
Sir, the president tasked me with getting the message out to the country and to other countries where we were seeing the invasion come from, with putting commercials out that told them that if they were in this country illegally, that they needed to leave, or we would detain them and remove them, and they'd not get the chance to come back to America the right way. That has been extremely effective.
Ask you to run these advertisements, is that right?
We had that conversation, yes, before I was put in.
Now, I want you all to really pay attention to how she's stumbling and fumbling around this particular question.
In this position and sworn in and confirmed, and since then as well.
Okay. Did you bid out those service contracts?
Yes, they did. They went out to a competitive bid, and career officials at the department chose who would do those advertising commercials.
And the people that you ended up picking were people who had formerly done your political work back in South Dakota. Is that right?
No, that's not correct, sir.
I think it is.
No, it's not, sir. The individuals who.
Gotcha. Now, I want everyone that's interested to do your homework on that, because some information contrary to what she is saying has been released. Again, do your homework and research, but let's just listen. Let's listen.
I believe the careers who they chose were two different media firms. There's been conversation about their subcontractors, but we have no
tomato, tomato, contractor, subcontractor. Do you know that a lot of times these subcontractors are in bed, not literally, well, then it could be literally, but in the sake of this broadcast, figurative, for the sake of kickbacks.
Authority to look into subcontractors on work like that.
Okay. And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this.
And you see how he postured that. First he began with, you're saying, then he stepped it up just a little notch. He turned up the heat just a little bit and said, you're testifying. See, a lot of people are saying, no, she got away with it. No. These are recorded transcripts, written and audio, are available in the event another administration may want to look deeper into these statements. Let's continue.
At a time, so I'm understanding.
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am, I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million.
$220 million.
Running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly, worked with OMB. Yes.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And one thing, Senator, I think would be helpful to know is how effective that communications has been.
Okay, she's continuously saying how effective. I guess it depends on your optics. But keep in mind how the senator has postured and put these questions together. He's trying to give her an out, but I don't think she quite understands. But well, let's continue.
That
they were
overwhelmingly
effective in your name recognition. I mean, I personally just, I mean, to me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot. And I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. It's just hard for me to believe. No, the president.
You don't have to say it. You don't have to tell her that she's not telling the truth.
I know you lying. I know you lying. I know you lying.
As I do, that you said, Mr. President, here's some ads I've cut, and I'm going to spend $220 million running them, that he would have agreed to that. I don't think Russ Vogt at OMB would have agreed to that. It's something we have.
OMB, for those of you who may not know, is the Office of Management and Budget. Again, OMB is the Office of Management and Budget. How do I know that? Again, former federal employee and a very, very, very good close friend of mine happens to work in the OMB. Oh, yes. I have a lot of friends in a lot of different places. Here, there, actually listening and watching in as we speak. Yep. Let's continue.
To defend, I'm on the Appropriations Committee. I mean, my research shows that you did not bid them out, that you pick, in fact, one of the people you picked. The strategy group, Safe America Media was a company formed 11 days before you picked them, and that the strategy group got most of the money, and the head of that is married to your former spokesperson. Look, we all have friends who are qualified. I'm not quibbling with that. It troubles me.
I know she is probably. Now, back in the day, when I used to be involved with contracts, there was a program, and I'm sure it's changed by now, but the website was Fed Biz Ops, basically federal business opportunities, where small businesses or large businesses would go to that website and look for federal contracts that were advertised there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, again, I believe it's changed now. This was years ago. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was the breeding ground as to how a lot of these types of fraud cases would come to life. There was someone that I actually worked with in the contracting office a long time ago, but she actually came to me being a rookie, wet behind the ears, so to speak, and tried to offer me, I'll just say, a gift. If I would give her information as it related to companies submitted, and come to find out a relative of hers wanted to bid on that contract. Depending upon the type of contract, many who were selected were those that had the lowest bid. Some of these contracts were sealed bid, where they remained what were supposed to, that's the operative word, supposed to remain sealed until the day of. So some of you out there that are listening and you haven't worked in the government, in certain agencies or offices, you can speculate, you can make your comments. Again, comments are welcome. But I've actually done these things, so I know a little bit. I know a little bit of what's going on. And while Senator Kennedy is asking questions, you best believe if he did not know the truth, if he did not know the answers, he would not ask, and he would not continue to ask. He is, in my opinion, really trying to impeach her. And what I mean by that is get her to slip up. Again, if you want to conceptualize and look ahead in the future, if this administration changes, this needs to be done. Again, for those of you with eyes to see, ears to hear, and brains to use, you'd understand. But let's continue.
A fifth to a quarter of $1 billion in taxpayer money when we're scratching for every penny and we're fighting over rescission packages. I just can't agree with Madam Secretary. Are you still running those ads?
No, Senator, I did not have anything to do with picking those contractors. I know politicals at the Department of Homeland Security did.
I understand. Are you
Career
still running
officials
those
followed
ads?
the competitive bid process.
Are you still running those ads?
I think the ads are due to end here in March. I think within a week
So
or two. I'm not sure of the end date. The one that is running is focusing on angel families. Have you seen that? It is the one that's talking about this is our why. This is why we work every day.
Okay.
It's for the angel
I've gotta
families
move
and their
on.
victims that need to.
After
In other words, he doesn't want to hear about that mess.
President Trump has removed Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Noem has spent the past 2 days on Capitol Hill as she has faced growing backlash over her job and handling of the Department of Homeland Security and particularly Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis. The president announced she would be transitioning to a new position, given the title Special Envoy for the Shield of Americas, which will...
That's absolutely hilarious. So let's move on. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the juicy part. And I really don't like being messy, but for this particular broadcast, I think I'm going to get just a little bit messy. We are going to visit the Dave Pakman Show. Again, the Dave Pakman Show. And he's going to go over a little bit of what people have been buzzing about. And it was a question that may have been a little bit inappropriate, but it's been on a lot of people's minds. So again, I would encourage you, those that are you interested, that you go visit Dave Pakman. And this is again, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem being asked a very personal question.
She asked a question, or maybe it's dubbed. She asked a question point blank. Are you having a sexual affair with Trump operative Corey Lewandowski? Now you might say, whoa, that's like tabloid stuff, David. This is potentially at the center of a lot of the erratic behavior that Kristi Noem has been involved in. There are reports about irregularities on flights, firings of government pilots, private jet shenanigans, all allegedly related to this affair that some believe Kristi Noem is having with Trump operative Corey Lewandowski. So the Congresswoman asks about...
So before we get to that, give me 1 second. I want to put something up for you. So these are some things, again, these are allegations about Corey Lewandowski. I'll let that play as you hear the questions.
About it, and Kristi Noem pulls the, I am aghast that you would ask me such questions.
Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling.
Yes or no? Can you ever answer yes or no? I've learned in my 57 years that when asked a question, that when you beat around the bush and you write or speak long paragraphs for a simple yes or no question, the probability of you being I'll just say the probability of your not telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth is very high. Now, am I saying that she's telling a fib? No. Am I saying there's a high chance that she might be? Absolutely. Anything is possible.
Tabloid garbage in this committee today. Reclaiming
And
my
ma'am, one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in the federal government.
So reclaiming my
As an
time.
advisor,
Ooh, thousands. Kristi, it might be time for you to zip the lips.
It is
has
okay for
no-
you to be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
be
question.
making any
It is
decisions.
okay for you to
has
be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
By the way, pay special attention to whether Kristi Noem actually denies it.
question.
making
But it is
decisions.
also a
putting
real
And that is something else that a lot of people have taken notice of. Now, remove if you are party affiliated and listen to the question and what you don't hear her say or even suggest. Let's continue. Again, this is a week in review of the circus. I'm your hostess, Lise. Welcome.
question. So what I would say
and
to
you should be able to
is
answer
that
the
what we do at the
question
Department of Homeland Security
clearly
every single
and without
day,
any hesitation.
every single day is to protect
If
the
someone is asking
make
if
decisions.
you or any federal official is
I
sleeping
have-
with their subordinate, that should
I
be
have-
the
Now, let me just stop that right there. Let me do hard. No pun intended. Stop right there. Do you remember Fulton County DA, for those of you who may not know, District Attorney Fannie Willis, or Fannie Willis, who was plastered all over the news for her inappropriate relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade for allegations of inappropriate relations. Do you remember that? Do you? Well, I'm refreshing your memory just for those of you out there who might have forgotten that a lot of you were on the bandwagon about that, given Steven Sadow, who I actually like, to be honest, and I forgot her name now. Oh gosh, Ashley. I believe her name was Ashley. I forgot her last name now. But was given Fannie Willis the business. They were giving her the work. She came in there to testify with that famous pink dress on that looked like it was not even put on the right way. And then all these records came out later about flight logs to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., my home, the home where lots of people come. Some don't make it out. Do your history. Oh, yes, do your history. But a lot of people come to Washington, D.C. to play. But there's a thing called discovery and FOIA requests and flight logs, and people just happen to see people out places. And it was discovered that, yes, Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade indeed were having a relationship. Now, it wasn't the fact that they were having a relationship, even though that did not look good. There are certain things that you cannot or should not be doing in certain positions, and you are to let members know. It's called ethics. That has not really died down. It's gotten a little bit quiet, but it hasn't died down, because like Kristi Noem, if Kristi Noem is found to have told a fib under oath in the future, that could come back and bite her. I'm not saying that it will, I'm saying it could. Let's continue.
You should be wanting to answer that question.
Is garbage?
Because it is not about
It's
your
offensive
sentiment.
that you have brought
It is
that up.
about your
No,
judgment.
that kind of garbage
It is
has
about
been refuted
reclaiming
for
my
years,
time so
and
that
you
I
need
can
to
hear myself.
recognize
share.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from California, but it'd be nice if you would let her respond.
I will. I want to let you know it is about your judgment and decision making. It is about the 260,000 employees that work under you that want to make sure that you are giving information and making decisions clearly. It is about conflict of interest. It is about a national security risk. Department of Homeland Security was created right after 9/11 to protect the homeland. And DHS has circulated an internal bulletin to law enforcement partners warning that the conflict of the war we're in could inspire lone actors or small-scale cyber activity inside the United States, according to a memo obtained by ABC News. So American lives are at risk. The people who work for you are at risk. And they want to know that the person at the top, you, are making decisions clearly, without any sort of cloudiness, and that they're your decisions because you're the secretary who was confirmed. That's what this is about. Saving the lives of Americans.
So she never denies it. She says that it's tabloid stuff. She says that it's a
So, for those of you that are interested, you can go to the Dave Packman Show. Again, the Dave Packman Show. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be returning to the Clown Show. I'm your hostess, Lise, and happy weekend. Happy weekend. Glad to see you. And we are back with the Weekend Review. I'm your hostess, Lise, and this is Circus. Next up, we have Kash Patel. Kash Patel and the heated exchange he had with Senator Cory Booker. Again, this is courtesy of C-SPAN. Again, welcome to the Weekend Review. I'm your hostess, Lise. If you'd be so kind, please double tap your screens, or depending upon the device you're listening to, give this a thumbs up. If you are returning, welcome. Great to see you. If you're new, welcome. And I do hope that you return again. Let us begin.
I asked you whether you had any knowledge or discussions about removing FBI officials and installing political personnel before you were confirmed to that position. And I wonder, did you then understand or have conversations with the White House about the intentions to do so?
Before I was confirmed?
Yes, sir.
Did I have discussions with the White House to remove FBI personnel?
Yes.
No.
So you're saying that you had no discussions with the White House before you were in the position about the removal of any personnel from the agency?
As I was preparing for my confirmation hearing, I had numerous discussions involving the type of people that would be employed, and that those that were failing to meet the mark at the FBI would no longer be employed if I were
I'm assuming that mark had to do with loyalty to the Trump administration.
No, you're wrong.
Okay. I'd like to revisit another subject from that hearing. You did testify before the grand jury that President Trump had declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Is that correct?
I don't have the grand jury transcript. That's why I released it. Whatever it says, it's the best evidence.
You know, that's what you said to Senator Whitehouse, if your grand jury testimony was publicly released. It has not been. In fact, in July, a court denied a news outlet's bid to get that transcript. But the court said quite clearly that you are free to discuss your grand jury testimony. So I ask you again, did you testify before the grand jury that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case?
And that is why I took your invitation to work with the department and the court to have that transcript released. And the transcript is the best evidence of what I said then.
So you're saying right now this committee can have access to what you said before the grand jury?
To whatever was released. And my understanding, Senator, that the Department of Justice.
You and I both understand the law. Let me finish.
I don't think one understands the law, but let's continue.
I understand under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, a grand jury witness, in this case you, is not barred from sharing their grand jury testimony. This is an oversight hearing. This is germane to your integrity and credibility. You know right now whether or not you testified that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Why are you refusing to answer that simple yes or no question right now?
Because the premise of your question is inaccurate.
He sounds just like, and I wonder if President Trump, our President Donald Trump, will soon grow tired and weary of the antics of Kash Patel and shift him to another agency, as he did with Kristi Noem by the end of the year. We'll revisit that.
And
there is no premise to my question, but trying to get to an order of what is truth or not.
How do you know what was asked in the grand jury if you weren't there?
Mr. Patel, this is a mockery you're making of this hearing and simple questions.
It's a simple question. If you have
Mr.
a
Patel,
transcript,
during
you can
your
read the
nomination,
questions, you don't have it.
You promised that, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. When I ask you, are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with the Trump administration, you explicitly said under oath that you were not aware of any plans to punish FBI agents associated with criminal investigations of Donald Trump. I don't believe you were truthful. Firing FBI employees based solely on the cases that they are investigating, their case assignment, is illegal, and you know that. A new lawsuit that's been discussed numerous times, filed by 3 FBI officials, alleges that you kept.
And there could be more forthcoming. Just putting that out there. Not saying that they are. I said it could be forthcoming.
Donald Trump's campaign of retribution, in quotes, against FBI employees for, quote, failure to demonstrate sufficient political loyalty. One of those plaintiffs has been discussed today, Brian Driscoll. Now, we know 20 years of distinguished service to the FBI before you terminated him. Special agent in charge of FBI's Newark field office, where he operated with distinction. Medal of Valor winner, Shield of Bravery awards. He's a patriot. You terminated Driscoll via a letter dated October 8th, 2025. And in that letter, you said that you were firing him pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution. Well, you're not the President of the United States. And so I'm wondering under what authority you were allowed to terminate him.
That matter is under litigation, and I'm not able to discuss it.
Okay. Okay, we'll discuss this. Did you have discussions with Stephen Miller?
Court Booker said, discuss this. Matter of fact, let me put the visual up for you.
About firing this particular person or about his continuance in the FBI?
Not that I recall.
How often do you speak to Stephen Miller?
Frequently on our Homeland Security task forces.
You frequently talk with Stephen Miller about subjects other than Homeland Security Task Force issues, correct?
I frequently talk to Mr. Miller about Homeland Security Task Forces.
Has Stephen Miller ever given you his opinions on how to run your agency?
Mr. Miller's interagency operations are invaluable to the FBI. That's what we talk about.
So you frequently discuss your job and your responsibilities with Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely. She's the Attorney General.
Understood. Okay. Donald Trump promised to make us all safer. You have pushed out senior FBI agents with decades of knowledge and experience. In fact, this is the first time in FBI history that neither the director nor the deputy director have any experience with the FBI. You've shifted the agency's priorities primarily to pursuing Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. According to ICE data, the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, found that 20% of all agents have been diverted from their work to assist ICE immigration enforcement. 20%. Part of this operation is the work of mass law enforcement who jump out of cars, snatch people off streets at churches, schools, and their jobs and hospitals. Have there been any FBI agents who investigate crimes against children that have been assigned to immigration enforcement, yes or no?
The premise of what you say is
Have
entirely
there been
false.
any FBI agents who investigate foreign domestic terrorism?
You don't get to say America is not safer under this
I am
leadership.
not saying
America is safer because of the work of the FBI.
You're making a presumption of premise.
4,700 children.
Sir,
we have 6,000 weapons and 20.
He has said or given the same answer every time he is on the floor. It's like it's been rehearsed and in his memory bank. Do your research.
You are not denying that FBI agents who investigate human trafficking have been reassigned to immigration enforcement. You are not denying that FBI agents who are on the task force that fight against Russian oligarchs have not been reassigned. Public Corrections Squad reassigned. People who defend children reassigned. You're not denying that. I've seen time and time again attack my colleagues' premises of questions as a way to not answer the question. So let me end with this. I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise. You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials, many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly...
So he looks like he's fumbling around in his seat, adjusting his tie. Is it getting a little bit hot for you, Kash?
You admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge. 20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces to stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it. And it really makes me wonder who you're looking out for. It makes me think we can't trust you as a nation. You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination.
Have you noticed that he's fumbling with that same little piece of paper? Cory Booker is giving him the work.
Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans. In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families.
So that was Cory Booker going in on Kash Patel. Your thoughts and opinions thus far on what you heard. Next, we have Ted Lieu. Ted Lieu has been also critical and the FBI director's lead, Kash Patel, and his performance. Let's listen in.
You're the frickin' FBI. You can subpoena the information from this state, and you better do that.
On March 6th, inside a House Judiciary Committee hearing room, Congressman Ted Lieu held up a single page and asked FBI Director Kash Patel to identify the signature at the bottom. Patel confirmed it was his. Then, Lieu told him what the document was: a case closure authorization for FBI investigation, EF negative 2023, negative 1147, an active 3-year investigation into financial transactions connected to Jeffrey Epstein's network, active for 3 years, closed 11 weeks after Patel took office. No final report filed, no prosecutorial referral submitted, no explanation entered into the case record.
And still no complete transparency. This snippet can be found under structural brief. Again, structural brief. And the final audio that we're going to listen to is Jamie Raskin.
Stop that. I'm not blaming anybody other than you. You're not keeping your word. You said that you would release all of the materials.
Has anyone released more information on Epstein than I have? Has anyone?
Much more.
Tell me, did Ray?
Much more. Excuse me. Much more has come out in the days since the American people in Congress have been demanding it. But it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do? Well, most other new FBI directors drew on their experience as FBI agents. You didn't have that. But you did write a picture book trilogy for children ages 5 and up based on your experience.
This is absolutely hilarious. So again, Jamie Raskin is going in. Let's continue. And Kash Patel. Oh my goodness, Kash Patel has written a book. And, well, let's just listen. I can't do this story any justice.
Clashing with President Trump's political enemies. In your book, you describe your literary alter ego, Kash the Knight, as a wacky, easily bored wizard carrying out King Donald's vengeance by driving his enemies out of the kingdom. In the books, King Donald is besieged by the evil Hillary Queentown, but saved in the end by Kash. Then Kash goes on to catch mules who are stealing the 2020 election for the great King Donald from Sleepy Joe. And then in the third book, Kash takes down the Dragon of the Jalapenos, nicknamed the DOJ.
This man, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, sat down and wrote a fantasy trilogy for 5-year-olds where he imagines himself as Kash the Knight carrying out King Donald's vengeance against his enemies. That is a real thing that actually happened. And Jamie Raskin walked into that hearing room, looked this man in the face, and read every single word of it back to him on live television in front of the whole country, while over 1,000 Epstein victims are still waiting for a single name. Let's watch this clip, and I will give you my take later.
Dr. Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
It has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Simple. It's just because who's on its list. And now that Kash Patel is the FBI director, has the paradigm shifted.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with the challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You can see this clip.
Boy pants,
and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's black book?
Black book, FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
The Rolodex, which is what everybody colloquially refers to as the black book, has been released.
Oh, no, you're talking about what the journalist got 5 years ago? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you were talking about there.
That's
the black
exactly
book under the direct control of the FBI director.
We have released more material than anyone else before. The Biden administration, Obama administration had the exact opportunities to release this material, and they never did. And if you are selling the men and women of the FBI, we're not going after child predators. Hang on, you said we're not going after child predators. 1,500 child predators arrested this year, 35% increase.
I'll reclaim my
4,700 child victims.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to reclaim my time if you could instruct the witness. Well, why have you changed your position? There you were saying it's under the direct control of the FBI director and all of it should be released. Why have you changed your position?
Everything that has been lawfully permitted to be released has been released. And as I told you, the investigation was limited. And let me make something crystal clear. I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8, and the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working with.
Wait, have you released all of the stuff that the FBI has seized from Epstein's house? The computers, the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial records? Have you released all of that?
Everything the court has allowed us to release.
Which court are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said.
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works?
Wait,
you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to follow your own word, Director Patel. You said up there it was under the direct control of the FBI director. He had the black book.
Everything I have direct control over, we have gone to court. You haven't.
Complete your sentence. Everything you have direct control over, you said,
have gone to court, and everything we have direct control over.
Complete your sentence. You said everything
released. We're releasing.
You'd like to complete his answer.
You began the sentence, everything you have direct control over, and then you stopped that sentence. You've released everything that you have direct control over?
And I have direct control over and can lawfully release. If you're not familiar with the court orders, that's not my fault.
Oh, I'm perfectly familiar with them, but how did we prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell?
She was prosecuted with the investigatory material that was collected from 2001 and 2005 because of the non-prosecution agreements and the court orders on the investigations and search warrants. We were not able to develop new information. And oh, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein was out for 12 years and the Obama and Biden administration did nothing to look at his work, his pedophile network. If you want to blame me, that's fine. But now you're blaming the men and women who conducted this.
Stop that. I'm not blaming anybody other than you. You're not keeping your word. You said that you would release all of the materials.
Has anyone released more information on Epstein than I have? Has anyone?
Much more.
Did Comey? Did Ray?
Much more. Excuse me. Much more has come out in the days since the American people in Congress have been demanding it. But it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you there are multiple federal court orders. I'm not going to break the law to satisfy your curiosity. You didn't join us when we filed courts to release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
That's a tiny fraction of the material we're talking about.
That is not.
It is a tiny fraction.
How do you know that? Have you seen everything?
It's all misdirected.
How do you know that?
The gentleman has expired. The gentleman from California is recognized.
Well, most other new FBI directors drew on their experience as FBI agents. You didn't have that. But you did write a picture book trilogy for children ages 5 and up based on your experience clashing with President Trump's political enemies. In your book, you describe your literary alter ego, Kash the Knight, as a wacky, easily bored wizard carrying out King Donald's vengeance by driving his enemies out of the kingdom. In the books, King Donald is besieged by the evil Hillary Queentown, but saved in the end by Kash.
You can find that total video in its entirety, and it's only about 10 minutes long on AN. AYYAN. I'll have a description in the description box on my page. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Week in Review, The Circus, starring Kristi, Noem, and FBI Director Kash Patel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the remainder of your night, perhaps it is morning for some of you, depending upon where you are on the globe. Have a safe, pleasant, and peaceful night. Until next video, everyone, please be safe and be healthier. Bye-bye for now.